So we're at DECONOMY. What are you seeing?
You know, like Vitalik's in town, Joe Lubin's in town, all that good stuff. Right.
Yeah, and what other news is coming out of DECONOMY?
There was one that was pretty good. So if you guys don't know, the big challenge in Korea is the exchange markets. There's actually only 4 major exchanges with legitimate like fiat pairs. And there was actually a debate on stage with some of the regulators, and it looks like they're going to actually bring up this issue and try to help open up this marketplace a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and what happens when it's open?
Right now it's actually very hard for new users to enter into crypto, right? Or buy crypto with their fiat currencies, because you have to have a specific bank account that goes into one specific exchange for every other exchange, right? So it's really dried up the market a bit, but I think the education's kind of catching up now, and that should help open up the market a bit more. At least that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the markets open up. Tell me, what's Hash have planned for the next 2 months?
Hashed. You know, I am the American partner of the team, so I spend most of my time in the Bay and San Francisco, and you know, and part-time in Korea. So the 2 markets are diverging in very different directions, right? Bay is still very focused on this open source Web3 type movement, which is, you know, equally important. And in Korea, we're thinking a lot more about consumer. Like, how do we just get more users involved in this ecosystem? They don't necessarily have to know what crypto is. So you've probably seen a lot of the activities around gaming. There's actually a lot more momentum there than people realize. So we're spending a lot of time looking into that category, making really early bets and incubating a ton of companies. We actually announced something called Hashed Labs not too long ago. It's an early stage incubator type programs. There's a lot of larger studios here that are very interested in entering crypto and gaming. But we think it's early, so we just want to do the early experiments first. So that's the next, I mean, we've been at it for a month, but you know, we're going to continue that for the next 2 months.
So Hash Labs, you guys are bringing the West and East together?
Well, I'm not sure if let's say bring the West and East together, but we're just doubling down on consumer activity here. Just trying to bring new users on and give them some utility to play with, right, and see how users react. We're also working very closely with Kakao, Line, all that good stuff. So you will see some really interesting things coming down this year.
Yeah, you working with GroundX and Clayton?
Yeah. We've known them long before they were called GroundX and Clayton. Yeah, and you know, I can't say much outside of that.
I see, that's it.
But who can say is the direct head of blockchain for Kakao's Clayton platform.
We are launching our mainnet in July. Kakao is the major mobile platform here in Korea. So we have, of course, the chat app, but we have payments, we have content streaming, taxi hailing, gaming, and using the messenger to basically onboard the Korean public onto this first kind of mass adoption blockchain experiment.
That experimentation is all aiming for mass adoption, something a lot of Koreans are seeing happening. Even giving away crypto, like the W Foundation.
Even the kids can receive my crypto to grandma, the W Green Pay, which is a reward to people doing green actions. Though we actually do have the statistics saying that the working level, more than 30-40% people owns crypto. So
in Korea?
In Korea. So the real world connection, the mass adoption is happening in Korea.
Happening so much so that IBM was here rolling out its big blockchain for financial services.
But the implementation falls short.
And what is IBM thinking and putting out right now with blockchain?
IBM has been doing some really interesting things. We announced the launch of Blockchain Worldwire, which is our solution for the reduction in the number of intermediaries in any kind of cross-border remittance.
We also found various outsider blockchain companies launching and trying to penetrate the Korean market.
And why did Orbs decide to do such a big launch here in Korea?
So we kind of identified Korea. You know, usually you say that Israel is a startup nation. So we kind of looked at Korea and we call it a blockchain nation. Like I mentioned, all the Korean big companies are doing blockchain. The government is really forward thinking. You know, the Seoul government doing the blockchain fund. The Jeju Island, they want to be like the next island of blockchain. So it's a very exciting market. Obviously, companies like Kakao and then Line and Ava. We think it can happen here, and then it will be maybe adapted, in the West, in the USA.
The Korean market has been driven a lot by an enterprise-first focus. So you see a lot of gaming applications, you see a lot of private chains, and our focus for right now is connecting disparate blockchains and bringing them out of the siloed era through the Polkadot protocol.
In connecting mass adoption, we met Jaide Barclay, an Australian blogger who's been traveling across Asia using only crypto.
Has it been easier or harder in Korea to use crypto?
It's definitely been harder than I expected, but today I got a gift card that accepts Cardano, So instantly this morning my life has become so much easier.
Yeah, I think we'll see some more coming out with Kakao Pay, but it's just not in place yet.
That's true. I think I need to come back to Seoul maybe when that comes out, because I really would like to check it out. So maybe I'm doing this journey just a little bit too early. I don't know.
Are we too early? There still does remain regulatory uncertainty here in Korea.
And what's going on in Korea right now?
I think it's a transition going on because personally it looks like there is no regulatory support. The payment rail in fiat especially, like essentially what happens is if you try to send money abroad, you have to report it to the BOK, the Bank of Korea, and if you have the word crypto in it, they automatically disqualify it. But essentially the regulators, hopefully they'll turn around and things will get better on.
That is some sobering optimism. Still, it seems we find plenty of hopium at the after parties. More from those abroad than the locals.
There's some really big projects that are about to launch, right?
Yeah. So Korea has been very focused on consumer adoption, like mass adoption. So a lot of them are, launching together with some of the DApp players in the market. Very excited, to see what's going on there. Yeah.
A lot of the outflows of retail, obviously. A lot of the builders and a lot of the crypto funds are, going hard last year are still at it, I'd say, just in a more kind of quiet underground fashion.
But people are still very active. People are trading. There's so many events going on. And, slowly I think we're starting to see a little bit of movement, a little bit of optimism, and definitely here in Seoul.
And where is that optimism coming from in Seoul, do you think?
Faith.
I don't know. Why is it so crazy in Korea?
Well, I think that the Korean market is really exciting because you have all the IOs now, and you have Kakao now in Korea playing with crypto and building a blockchain. You have SKT, the biggest telecom in Korea, actually developing blockchain companies that they're holding, right?
What I'm really interested to find out more about is the regulation, to be honest. Hong Kong, as mentioned before, they're still taking a little bit of a step back and watching other people's moves. So if I can understand more about what's happening here in Seoul, then that might actually help bring some information back to Hong Kong.
Share what's going on in Korea with Hong Kong. I see. So that makes Korea the leaders of the pack.
No comment on that, but we'll see what happens. Yeah.
We'll wait and see. Thanks, Gareth.
Ran from Seoul back to Joburg.